Imagine spending 20 plus years helping other people find their dream homes while secretly wondering if you'll ever get to settle into your own dream retirement. That's where Jordan and Michelle found themselves. Great income, busy schedules, tons of closings, but absolutely no clue whether they were actually on track or just sprinting on a treadmill made of inspection reports and contingency offers. Woof! And they're asking themselves a question you might be asking too. We make great money, but do we actually have enough to retire? Hey everyone, I'm Casey Kraft, a financial advisor with Raymond James. I make videos that walk through real-life financial scenarios so you can see how small decisions around saving, investing, and retirement actually affect your long-term plan. If you like this kind of practical, real numbers content, show some love to this video and follow my channel. It helps more people see it and proves to my wife that I am actually working and I'm not ignoring her texts on purpose. Today we're breaking down the real numbers of a realtor couple in their 50s who want to retire early. Jordan and Michelle. Let's jump in. Jordan is 55, Michelle is 53. They live in Raleigh, North Carolina. They run a top producing real estate team making $385,000 in gross commissions a year. After marketing, staging, gas, CRM subscriptions, and the occasional team meeting disguised as brunch, they net about $255,000. Their S-Corp pays Jordan a W-2 of $65,000 and Michelle a W-2 of $60,000. And they take $130,000 in distributions per year. And they also collect $515 in net profit monthly in their rental income from their condo. In their retirement accounts, Jordan has a SEP IRA with $250,000 in it. Michelle has a SEP IRA with $220,000. Jordan has a Roth IRA with $86,000, and Michelle has a Roth IRA with $70,000. They have a brokerage account with $215,000. They've got $37,000 in personal savings and a business checking account with $48,000. In real estate, their primary home has a value of $620,000 with a mortgage of $248,000 still left to go. And with their rental condo, it's worth about $305,000 with a mortgage of $112,000. In retirement, Jordan and Michelle want $9,000 a month to spend after taxes every year. They'd like to have $8,000 a year for travel from ages 60 to 70, and they'd like to have their rental condo paid off before retirement. Their time frames are Jordan would like to be done at age 62 and Michelle at 60, so at the same time. No belt tightening, no lifestyle downgrade. They want life to feel the same, just without the 8 p.m., hey, we'd like to see it tonight, buyer text. Here's what they're saving today. In Jordan's SEP IRA, it's $16,250 a year, and in Michelle's SEP IRA, $15,000 a year. That's 25% of their W-2 income. In their Roth IRAs, they're each contributing $400 a month into that for a total of $9,600 a year towards their Roth IRA. And in their brokerage account, they're putting in $12,000 a month for a total of $14,400 a year. So total contributions equals $55,250 per year. Their Social Security estimates at full retirement age, which is 67. For Jordan, that's $2,814 a month. And for Michelle, that's $2,629 a month for a total of $5,443. If you're investing without conviction, meaning you don't know why your portfolio looks the way it does, it might be time to partner with an advisor you know and trust. If you want help building a plan like we're about to go through, click the Calendly link in the description. Let's see how Jordan and Michelle's plan is doing with what they've got currently set up. So when we run 1,000 trials through good markets, bad markets, good timing, bad timing, right now what they're doing is giving them a 55% probability of success, a little bit better than a coin flip. Let's see if we can do a little bit better than that. This column represents their current scenario, and then over here we've got 3 different strategies that we can implement and basically just play around and make some changes too. So what if 1, 2, and 3? What if we did these 3 different things? First off, with their investments, they're in 90% equities, 10% fixed income. So from a risk tolerance perspective, between 1 and 5, 1 being conservative and 5 being aggressive, they're like a 4.5. So they're comfortable taking on risk. What I'm gonna do here is go, all right, let's change what if scenario 1 to be a 4, so a little bit less risk just to see. And then in 2 and 3, keep them at a growth strategy and a growth portfolio, which is a 5 out of 5. But in retirement, I want to turn down the heat if possible. I would love to take risk off of your plate once you're retired. So across the board, I'm going to be in a 3 out of 5. And a 3 would be called a balanced portfolio. So in all 3 scenarios, that's what we're going to do. Their goals, we're not going to make any changes to this right now. They're still going to retire at 62 and 60 and still spend $108,000 a year, whether they are employed or retired or a combination of the two. And if one of them should pass, whether that's while they're employed or in retirement, we're going to plan like we're living off of $84,000 a year. We're going to include those healthcare costs, what Medicare is going to be down the road. And then we want to include traveling at $8,000 a year for 10 years. So we're not going to make any changes to their goals. I want them to live the retirement lifestyle that they want. Here's their retirement income portion. So their rental income is giving them $6,180 a year. We're going to include that. With Social Security, they're just keeping it at 67.
67.
And well, let me rephrase. They haven't given any real thought to Social Security. They just didn't want to leave anything off the table. They didn't want to leave anything left over. So they're going to, was that the right phrase? I don't know if I said that right, but you know what I mean. So instead of taking it as soon as they can, they're going to wait till a full retirement age, which is 67.
Don't you dare.
We're going to keep that throughout the same across the board. We might make some tweaks to that. We'll see. First, I want to see what this current setup is going to look like. So instead of doing $4,800 a year, so right now they're doing $400 a month into each of their Roth IRAs, let's see what it looks like if we max that out every single year. And then their brokerage account, right now they're contributing $1,200 a month, which is $14,400 a year. Let's just see what happens if we do $15,000, $20,000, and $25,000. And yes, their SEP IRAs are included in this. They just don't, for whatever reason, include this in this portion. But we are including that in the plan, so just be aware. All right, let's see what happens when we make these small changes. All right, so by making some of those changes, we can see that we get a 55, 59, and 61% chance of success. A little bit better, but I'd love to be in at least the mid 70s, low 80s, if possible. So let's do a couple things. Right out of the gate, they're saying, look, we don't mind being aggressive in all 3 scenarios, so let's just change all of those to growth. All right, we're going to do that. Rental income, can't change that. We're not doing anything there. But with Social Security, I'm suggesting, look, why don't we change it to age 70 just to see what that looks like across the board? So they're down with that. So instead of taking it at 67, we're going to wait until age 70 to get as much as we possibly can. We're going to keep those Roth IRA contributions by maxing them out exactly the same. But now we're going to come down here and change that brokerage account to 25, 30, and 35. And as I'm suggesting this, I can tell they're getting a little uncomfortable by making all these contributions. They're doing a lot, right? They're maxing out their SEP IRAs, they're maxing out Roth IRAs, and they're putting $35,000 extra in their brokerage account. It's a lot to ask for. I get it. It's uncomfortable. But the retirement lifestyle that you want is often going to make you do uncomfortable things in our working years. It's just how it works. But they're like kind of at their limit. All right. So look, make it happen. We'll make some sacrifices somewhere else, but let's see what it looks like when we make these changes. So we're changing our Social Security from 67 to 70, and we're changing what we're adding to our brokerage account. So we're still doing a little bit better, but not enough to move the needle. So it's at this point in the conversation where I say, look, can we trim back either on our living expenses, or can we go out in retirement maybe a year or 2 later? They're very adamant about retiring when they want. I get it. We work hard. We want to be done. Totally there with you. But our living expenses are going to be one of the biggest things that we can cut back on if possible. So I suggested, look, why don't we go over here to the goals section, and in our living expenses, for the both of y'all being involved in the plan, so you're both alive, instead of spending $108,000 a year, what if we trim it back to, let's do one scenario where we spend $500 less a month and one where we spend $1,000 less a month. They're like, okay, we can do that. It's not totally ideal, but we trust your judgment, so let's try it out. So instead of $108,000 a year in What If Strategy 2, we're going to go down $500 a month. So that's going to be $102,000 across the board. So we're going to make these changes there, there, and there. And then for What If 3, we're going to change it so they're spending $1,000 less every single month. So that's $12,000 a year, and that's going to be $96,000 a year. So we're going to do the same across the board in those scenarios. Now, hopefully we get mid 70s, low 80s. Let's see where we're at. And all three of us are just really hoping that we can get there. And the software's telling us, hey, check out What If 3 scenario, 80% chance of success. Come on, somebody, praise the Lord. So we're going to change their investments before retirement to a 5 out of 5 into a growth portfolio, turn down their risk from a 5 to a 3 in retirement. Still going to retire at age 62 and 60, but now we're going to do our living expenses at $96,000 a year instead of $108,000. We're going to take Social Security at $70,000 instead of $67,000. We're going to max out our Roth IRAs instead of putting in $400 a month. And we're going to change our contributions from our brokerage account from $14,400 a year to $35,000 a year. And I know that sounds like a really big jump, and of course it is. It's an extra $20,000-ish that's going in there. However, when you think of it in realtor terms, it's what, a couple closings? So it's totally doable. It just takes some intentionality. But they're happy with 80%. I'm happy with 80%. And now it's just a matter of getting those closings done and living the lifestyle they want. They're happy with 80%. I'm happy with 80%. We know what we need to do. We need to change their investments from a 4.5 to a 5 before retirement. We need to turn down the heat in retirement, go down to a 3. We're going to retire at 62 and 60, but instead of living off $108,000 a year, we're going to live off of $96,000. And instead of taking Social Security at 67, we're going to take it at age 70. And instead of doing $400 a month into their Roth IRAs, we're going to max it out every single year. And their brokerage account, we're going to up it from $14,400 a year to $35,000 a year. Yeah, so we adopt strategy number 3, incorporate that into their plan, and we're off and running. After going through their plan, Jordan and Michelle said something I hear a lot. We finally feel like we know the finish line. For years, their confidence depended on closings, interest rates, and whether buyers actually showed up for showings. But once everything was laid out clearly, their savings, their timeline, their spending, and their long-term income sources, the stress disappears. They left feeling relieved, confident, and excited for the next chapter. Every couple's plan is different, but the moment of clarity Jordan and Michelle walked away with is universal. Clarity always beats guessing. A real plan doesn't just show you where you stand, it shows you what really matters and what you need to do today to make it happen. And if you're not sure whether what you're doing right now is getting you to the retirement lifestyle you want, click the calendar link in the description below and schedule some time with me. I'm Casey Kraft, the financial advisor with Raymond James. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless.